Randall, Jeremy, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us. If you could, Jeremy, can you remind folks of, some of the reasons that y'all are wanting to unionize? Because one of the things, and I think they have kind of moved away from this, but one of the initial responses to the union campaign was that you don't deserve better, that you've got it great already, that there are no problems, and you don't deserve anymore because you got it so dang good right now. What were the reasons that you wanted to organize?
Yeah, pretty much because of where we live here in Alabama. They just kind of treated us like, you ought to be lucky to have a job. And, they would give us less money than we deserve compared to the big three, even though we're Mercedes and build $100,000, even $250,000 luxury vehicles. And just because we're down here in Alabama, they say, you're well paid for the area. And they had also introduced a two-tier pay scale where the new workers made $5 an hour less. Since then, since the union campaign, they did do away with the two-tier pay scale, gave all the workers a $2 an hour raise. But we've been here before. I mean, we've been 5-6 years with pretty much no raises, and our insurance gets more expensive every year. Did away with retiree insurance. So, what kind of a place is this going to be to work in the coming years and for the next generation if we don't take a stand at some point? We just won't treat it fair.
Right. Right. And so that's been kind of, you mentioned that there's been something of a raise since the campaign started. They also fired the U.S. CEO for Mercedes, and they've got a new guy in there. And that is kind of representative of the broader shift in strategy from, I think, both Mercedes and I don't know how much Mercedes really leaned into the you don't deserve better, but that was really part of the BCA and the politicians' campaign at the beginning. But now there is more of a shift from both Mercedes and the politicians to say, like, oh, you're right, there are problems, but we're fixing it. You don't need to organize. Look, we got a new CEO. He's going to be great. How have workers in the factory, in the shop, reacted to these changes? Have they made some workers more reticent to unionize, or have they emboldened workers and said, look, this is what I'm getting with just a talk of a union. Imagine what I can get if I actually unionize. Randall, what are folks saying?
Folks are saying, well, why 2 weeks? Why didn't they do it 2 years? If they truly cared about us, they could have done it 2 years ago instead of waiting 2 weeks before the election and stuff. It's persuading some. They want to give them a chance and stuff, but most of them they're not buying it.
Right.
They know it's just a trick.
How have folks been reacting to Matthew Wilson's interventions recently?
They're taking it as it's very odd to do something like that. I just had to scratch my head on that.
Yeah, just for folks who weren't listening earlier in the program, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but we mentioned it briefly. City councilor and preacher Matthew Wilson has apparently been seen on the shop floor talking to people, asking them, "Please don't vote for the union, please." So yeah, I agree, Randall. I think that's kind of odd. That seems strange. Jeremy, what about you? How have folks been reacting to Wilson or to any of these other things? That Mercedes has been doing, and the commercials and the website and everything from the BCA and folks like Governor Ivey and things like this. How have folks been reacting when you've been talking to them?
Yeah, so it's all a different thing. Governor Ivey has her impact has been negative for her and for Mercedes. The BCA has had no impact, just like Governor Ivey. People are on to the deal where the people in power try to control those who actually do the work. So that didn't benefit Mercedes at all. Firing the CEO, it had some people reconsidering, but what I told them is I've had 6 or 7 CEOs, and then I named, the most memorable thing that each one did. And the most memorable thing that each one did was negative. Either forced workers out, the next CEO didn't bring them back, the next CEO, no raises, told people if they wanted raises, they could volunteer for overtime. And the last CEO introduced 2-tier pay. And all of them had some, when they came in the door, they all had some benefit that they offered that was kind of their, look what I can do. But it never lasts. It's all about making the most profits with companies. And this one has shown that the goal is to send as much profit back to Germany and the shareholders as possible. So while some people, primarily it's the anti-union folks that are saying give the new guy a chance, it's having some impact on those in the middle, but overwhelmingly our supporters are sticking with it. So, if you're a betting man, put your bet on unionization.
There you go. Well, that's what I would do if I was a betting man myself. That's interesting that is interesting that your perception is that actually the BCA and the Ivy campaign has overall been negative insofar as it relates to their goal of persuading people not to unionize. It's had the opposite effect, if any, which is to push people towards unionization. But that hasn't always been the reaction to political elites and folks like this intervening in these elections. At Volkswagen in Tennessee, there was a huge full court press by the governor and other politicians in Tennessee to encourage people not to unionize, and it worked that time. What would you say what is the difference? Why did it work then and it's not working now?
Yeah, a lot of our new workers came in under that 2-tier pay regime, and it's not like we suddenly decided that was a bad idea. We thought that was a bad idea from the go. So when you have workers that's been there 20 plus years, and they see, a new generation coming in that could be their sons and daughters, and for no reason, profits weren't a question. They were overflowing. And they said, we want to pay these workers less. Well, that says 2 things. The one thing it says is really we've decided that we really are overpaying our workers that have been here a long time. And then we're saying, you know what, we really don't value what you new workers are bringing to the table. So we're going to pay you less. And even though they threw some money at us this year, let's just say, okay, the workers believe it and say, okay, we're voting 100-0 to not have a union. And then you look at the history of the company, and if we go years without a raise, or if our insurance continues to get worse, or we have no real retirement, then what did we really gain? Nothing. We lose every year. So what we know is we know our company, and for the most part, most of us know we can't trust them. We just got to trust each other that we've got each other's best interests at heart. And so we'll unionize the plant, and then at the table, based on the power of the profits of the vehicles we build and the strength of the workers at the plant, we'll get a good contract.
Right.
That's right.
Jeremy, one of the funnier things I think that I've seen Mercedes do is the UAW put a picture of this out on Twitter. There are signs, big banners on either side of Mercedes gates as you're going into the plant, and on the outside it says "Your vote matters, vote," and that's all it says. And then on the inside, it says "Vote no" on the union. Has that kind of struck people as strange that they don't want to send the same message to the folks inside the plant as the folks outside the plant? Have folks noticed that?
Yeah, they noticed it. It didn't strike anybody as strange. Mercedes has been lying for months now about what they're doing inside the plant. People that's been around organizing 25, 30 years have said this is the strongest anti-union campaign they've ever seen. Mercedes is a liar. They lie every day. So nobody was surprised. We thought it was pitiful. And actually, yesterday, I don't know who got to them, but somebody made them replace those signs. Now the sign on the inside the gate says vote also. They took down the vote no signs, but, you know, it doesn't matter because every morning everybody's made to watch a video that says vote no. On the TVs all day long, it's vote no. They're mailing stuff to our house, vote no. Sending text messages to our phone, vote no. So, you know, it's everybody knows what Mercedes' position is, and you know, it's up to the workers to decide.
I think the whole world should know how Mercedes has been handling this campaign and stuff. They've been lying. They've been doing everything they can to prevent us from having our own union. They've been trying to persuade the votes. Of course, you know, yesterday with a pastor walking around trying to persuade votes, giving this man a chance. They had their chance 20 years ago. Everything just deteriorated. And why now they want to act like they care about us? No, we're not going to be fooled this time. We're going to get our union.
All right, Jeremy, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I just say to anybody that sees your program, man, this campaign is even bigger than just Mercedes. Everybody knows what the Mercedes star is about and what it represents. And it's so much more important than even just the workers inside the Mercedes plant. So how can you, if you are sympathetic to our cause, how can you help? If you're a union member or somebody that supports unions and you know somebody that works at Mercedes, reach out to that person and encourage them to vote yes starting Monday evening. Vote yes, send a message, and after Mercedes votes yes, then we're going to get the rest of the state. People are not going to take advantage of Alabama workers anymore.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, brothers, for both of you for what you're doing in this campaign, because you're exactly right. It's bigger than just you and your coworkers at Mercedes. It's something that impacts all of us as working people here in the South. And it's given us all as unionists a lot of hope and energy, seeing the organizing that's happening, seeing, like you said, it's possible with Chattanooga and the progress you're making in Tuscaloosa and then next Montgomery and on from there. So thank you both for all the hard work you're doing. I know you're spending a lot of extra time, having a lot of conversations, doing a lot of work on this. And so it's all going to be worth it. And the working people of Alabama stand with you.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Thank y'all.